Hey everybody, how you guys are doing? I hope you guys can hear me okay, and I hope you guys can see me okay and stuff. I hope everybody's fine. Oh yes, Iris, I saw that message. I hope you are okay. I am praying for you, girl. Okay, so just stay strong and stuff. Um, we got you. We are there with you. Okay, and so just think of all your embroidery friends right there, right next to you. All right. And so anyway, guys, all right. So it is embroidery happy hour time. And once again, as always, every Friday, I like to share some valuable information with you guys. Now, this topic came from one of you guys out there, Linda. Linda had commented on one of my videos, and she asked the question of, do you have a list of questions that you ask your customers or folks that you are embroidering for, right? You know, a list of stuff that you should be asking, right? So, I thought about it and I said, you know what? I don't have a list. However, though, I there are certain things that I do commonly ask them. And I figured, let me write down all the questions that I usually ask customers when they come to me because they need some type of embroidery. So that way you guys can figure out, like, think of these questions also when you guys are doing this. All right. Whether you're making embroidery for a friend or you're selling to customers and stuff like that, you want to make sure that you're asking the right questions so that way you get all the information up front, because that's very, very important. It's important because if you don't have all the information up front, you're going to have a difficult time of trying to figure out what is the price you should be charging for your embroidery. Okay, so I wrote down some of the things that you should be thinking about, and I'm going to just go down the list. I have about 12. Okay, I thought about 12 things that you should always be thinking about or having the discussion with your customer about. Okay, all right. So the first thing whenever somebody calls me and says, hey, I would like to get something embroidered, this is the first question I always ask: when do you need the item by? Now, the reason why that question is very important is because it gives you an idea of the time frame that you're going to be working this order, for the customer. Okay, if the person is saying I need it by next week, you kind of know right away you got a serious customer, you got someone that is really serious. If the person's response is, well, um I don't need it till next month, or I really don't know when I need it, then that kind of gives me the indication that it's a potential customer, but is not very decisive. Like they don't really know exactly what they want yet. Okay, they're kind of fishing, they're fishing around to see what options are out there, which that's okay, but it kind of gives me an idea of how much time I should be investing in this person. Like, for instance, if somebody comes to me and says, hey, I need to have something embroidered and I would like to have it embroidered by next week, I already know that I really need to go all in with this customer because I need to hurry up and get all the information required, so that way I can make sure I have that product and I can embroider it and meet that timeline that the customer wants. Okay, if the customer comes out and says, I think I need it next month, or I'm not sure when I need it, then it's kind of like the person may not even know if they really need the service at all, right? So a lot of times I would just explain the kind of services that I offer, and then I'll say, just let me know, reach out to me when you definitely know what you want, that way I know that, I letting the customer know is that, you kind of came to me a little too early, because you really need to know kind of like what you want, unless you're fishing for information, like you're not sure about styles or types of embroidery, or if a particular item can be embroidered, stuff like that. Okay, so asking the question as to when they need that item to be delivered by is a really good one to start with, because it kind of gives you the basis. You kind of really know, okay, this is something that I got to get done now. And you can see Mello hanging out back here. You want to say hi, Mello? Look at him. All right. He wants to say hi. You want to say hi? You want to say hi? Okay. All right. Okay. So anyway, now he made his cameo. Okay. So anyway. All right. So first question I always ask every customer, when do you need the item by? Then the other question that I always ask is, do you know what type of embroidery you're looking for? Now, when I'm asking that question to the customer is what are you, what is it? You want a business logo to be embroidered? Are you looking for initials to be embroidered on a particular product? Are you looking for a jacket? You want to you want to get more details of what it is that the customer wants. Now, the reason why that question is important, and I always put it as second, is first I like to know when you need the item by. Then I need to know what kind of embroidery is it that you want. If you're telling me that you want some business shirts, right, and you have a logo and you want me to digitize your logo, obviously, and you tell me I need it in 3 days, right away, I'm going to tell you can't do it. The reason being is because I need time. And that's when I have the discussion with the customer and I let them know, in order for me to embroider your business logo, I have to have a clean copy, a graphic copy of your logo. I have to work with a digitizer to convert your image into a stitch file. After that stitch file is created, I have to test stitch it, make any type of modifications that's required in order to make sure that we have a final digitizing file that was going to work. Okay. Because, and I always stress, I always make sure that the customers know that the digitizing portion is a process. It is not something that's going to happen overnight. I make sure that they understand that I work with someone else. I have to also work on their schedule as well. Okay. And when I get that product from them, I can't say that it's golden and I'm good to go. I always test stitch the design. And when I test stitch the design, I'm looking for quality and I'm looking to make sure that it's exactly coming out like the customer wants. Okay. For example, like this. Okay. This is a test stitch that I did for a customer. Okay. I mean, it's like, and these are the swaps that I usually do for customers to show. And we'll talk about this later on. But this is what I mean when I talk about test stitching. Okay. There have been times when I will get a logo. Excuse me, I'll get a logo, send it out to get digitized. Then sometimes I have to have conversations with Fazil, and then sometimes it's like, okay, maybe the image shouldn't be done in 40 weight thread. Maybe I need to use 60 weight thread in certain parts of the image. Okay. So there's a lot of things that you have to take in consideration. So it is a process. So the customers have to understand that if you are looking for that type of customized embroidery, you're going to need to give me a little more time, because I need those couple of days in order to digitize and test. Okay. And then we got to play with weight of threads. And we also got to play around with the colors as well. Okay. So that's the second question. And depending on the answer to the second question, that's when I know I'm going to need a digitizing service. And when you need a digitizing service, you have to have that conversation with the customer also and let them know that digitizing service is not free. Okay. There is, if you're going to have a fee with the digitizing, you need to let them know up front and say, in order for me to get that file digitized, this is how much it costs. Okay. And if you're going to eat that cost, then you really don't have to have that conversation with the customer. But if you want them to pay for the digitizing, you need to let them know that up front. Okay. The also thing is you have to have a discussion about the artwork, right? You want to take a look at it. All right. Some people will come out and say, well, I just want my business logo. Well, don't just have them say, this is my business logo. Can I see it? When you see the artwork of their business, that you can kind of roughly, and I would not guess, okay? I would work with the digitizer first, okay? But from my experience, one of the things that I noticed is the more solid the image is, and the more details that are in the image, the more stitches that artwork may have, okay? And when you have more stitches, that means that the logo is going to take longer to embroider, all right? That's time. It's going to use a lot more thread, okay? So that's material, all right? And also it may be dense. So you're going to have to think about the fabric that you're going to be embroidering on, okay? You're also going to be looking at things such as, and I have samples. I have samples to show you too, okay? Like, since we're talking about this now, all right, the artwork. Let me show you some samples, okay? So this way it'll kind of clear it up for you a little bit. All right, so let me pull out some of these samples that I have here that I've worked on. Okay, now I have this one right here, okay? I'm putting it up to the camera so you guys can see. All right, this is a logo that I do for a women's club. All right, and now as you can see, this is all, and I'm putting it real close to the camera so you guys can see, this has all stitches. This is all completely stitches, okay? All the red you see, all the black you see, and then you also see it's small print as well, all right? So because this is a very detailed design, this has 34,000 stitches, okay? And it takes a while to stitch out, all right? And also it's a mixture of thread, of weighted thread, okay? If you look at the red portion here and you look at the black, that's 40 weight thread. If you look at the fonts, that's 60 weight thread. So I have to take all into that account, okay? So this is one that is like very dense design also, okay? Because it's very you know, a lot of stitches going on in there, okay? So this is, you know, you have to think of all this stuff, okay? You have to think of all this stuff when you're gathering the requirements from your customer, okay? So this is one, okay? So this is an example of one that is very, very detailed, has a lot of stitches in it, very dense, and there's different thread weights involved in embroidering this one, okay? Now, this one that I showed you earlier, it's pretty simple. It's not bad. The only 60 weight is the bottom, okay, because this is small lettering, all right? The rest of it can be 40 weight. It is not a lot of stitches, okay? It's under 10,000. So I'm like, okay, this is, and it's a quick stitch, okay? Not very dense, okay? So something to, you know, keep in mind, all right? This one was one that I did on the jackets, okay? So that you guys can see. Here is another one that I did for a customer. Okay, this was a very quick stitch as well. Okay, so, and this was another one that I did for a customer, all right? And then this was another one for the back of shirts, okay? So these are just some of the samples of these are little swats. I call them swats that I do for customers, all right? But this is what I'm talking about when I say the artwork, okay? First of all, you got to make sure they give you a clean copy of the artwork. Nothing fuzzy or anything like that. You want that artwork to be nice, solid, and clean. The reason why I say you want it to be nice, solid, and clean is because it makes it a lot easier for the digitizer to take that image, put it in their software, and convert it to a stitch file. Okay. If it's a little fuzzy, it may end up having some problems, and then when you get that stitch file back from the digitizer, you may have some adjustments you might need to do. It may not come out as clean, okay? And it's not the digitizer's fault. They can only work off of what you give them, all right? So that's another thing. Okay. Now I'm going down to number 5. So no, let me go real quick on the 4. The first question: when do you need your item by? The second question: what type of embroidery are you looking for? Are you looking to get something that you need digitized, or you just want a name on something? You know, if they want something personalized, that's pretty easy. You just use your fonts and that's it, you know. Also, are you going to need a digitizing service? That's actually, you know, in response to, yeah, I want to get something digitized. That means they do need a digitizing service, and that's when you have to have the conversation on how you want to handle that. Okay. The artwork, then that falls more on the custom side. Okay. You know, you got to make sure you get a clean artwork. Okay. Number 5: what products are you looking to get embroidered? Okay. Then you have to have the conversation with them as the quality of the material that they want you to embroider. Okay. Or they're asking you to do backpacks, or they're asking you to do duffel bags, or they're asking you to do a leather jacket, or they're asking you to do a jean jacket, or they're asking you to do polo shirts and all that kind of stuff. Then you have to ask the other question of these products that you want to get embroidered. Are you going to provide these products to me for embroidery? Or are you looking for me to go and get the products for you? Because that's another thing that you got to think about, okay? If they're telling you, no, I want you to get the shirts for me, okay, for me to get embroidered, then you got to remember that's something you got to charge for, because that's more time consuming. That means you have to go out there and you got to find the right sizes, you got to find the right shirt and all that stuff. And you know, it can get, you know, it takes time, right? Because you got to order it and all that kind of stuff, right? Me personally, I prefer for the customer to bring me the items or order them, because that's time that I don't want to spend. However, there's a caveat with that, okay? If you're going to be bringing your items for me to embroider, I want to know where you bought that item. And there's a reason why. Because if you don't, if I can't replace it, you need to know right up front. Okay, stuff can happen. And if something happens, I'll replace it. But I can only replace it if you tell me where you got it from. Okay. So you know, you got to think about the products, okay, and you know what it is that they want to get embroidered. Or is the customer going to be providing that to you, or are you going to be going to get them? And if they want you to get them, you need to make sure you charge for that, because that's your time. That's your time, okay? So, you know, something to think about. And these are conversations that you got to have with the customer, all right? Now, let me see. The other thing, color threads. All right. You got to ask that question. You know, what color are you looking to get done? You want a personalized name? Okay, well, what color do you want to have your item, you know, embroidered in? When I was working with the customer on, let's see, on this logo, okay, even though to a lot of people you could see this and then you say, oh, this is red. Well, this is like a raspberry red, okay? They wanted it to be a particular red to match the actual shirts that they had, okay? So you have to sit down with your customer and go through these color charts, okay? I really highly recommend that you guys get them. Now, one thing, a little tip for you guys regarding these color charts, okay? Sometimes you get these color charts and you don't have every color in your shop. You don't. All right. So what I do is I want you to take a look at this color chart, and you see these two little dots right here, these little stickers. So if there's a sticker, that means I have it here. Okay, it's in my shop. If you pick one that doesn't have a sticker, that means that I have to order it. Okay. So I can do one or two things. I can charge the customer extra, okay, because I had to actually order more thread to do this order, okay? So that's something I have to have in the back of my mind when I'm writing up the invoice, okay? I have to include that. And I also have to know that ordering thread that I don't have in shop is going to take time as well. So I have to incorporate that in when I can deliver this product to the customer. So there's a lot of things that have to get involved in all this stuff, right? So if they ask for digitizing, that's going to take time. If they want you to go ahead and order the blanks for you to embroider, that's going to take time. If they have a special color that they want to use and you don't have it in shop, that's going to take time for you to order too. So these are all things that you have to, think about when, ask these questions, be aware of it and stuff. And you have to think about this when you do the pricing. That's why a lot of times I tell people, you never, and I'm serious, guys, I'm telling you, never, don't do it. It's going to be tempting. People are going to come up to you and they're going to say, "Oh, I want to get this embroidered. How much is it?" And they are going to try to push you for a price. And then what's going to happen, and this is the thing, never, okay? Please get that in your mind. You don't do that. The response to that is, I will have to let you know once I get more details from you. That's the response you give them. And the reason why I say that is because think about it. Think of all these questions that I'm telling you to ask these customers, okay? All these questions is about custom stuff. And some of this stuff costs money. You don't want this. You don't want to go ahead and quote them a price. And then all of a sudden it ended up costing more. And then you ended up, low balling yourself. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? So that's why I say you never offer prices in the beginning, because people are going to ask. They're going to say, "Oh, can you give me a price? Can you give me a price? I want this. Can you give me a price?" Unless it's something so super simple that you have done 100 times. Like if somebody comes to me and they say, "Hey, Jeanette, I got this little girl's dress and I just want the name in the front or the initials and stuff like that." Something like that, right away I go, "Oh, sure, you can bring it to me and it's $15." Because that's my minimal my minimal fee. I don't turn on this machine for anything less than $15. That's the price. That's how much it is. Take it or leave it. However, though, if you come to me and you say, "Hey, Jeanette, this is my logo and I want to put it on a bunch of polo shirts," then I would say, "Okay, let's sit down and talk about this." Okay. And then I'll get all the information from them first. Got all the information from them first. And then I talk with Faisal as well. I'll send the file to Faisal and I go, "What do you think? What do you think? How many stitches are in there?" And, and the thing is, it's going to take time for you to really think about the price that you want to charge, because the more stitches that a file has, the longer it's going to take to stitch. And I even tell you guys, just because your machine can stitch 1,500 stitches per minute or 1,000 stitches per minute, that doesn't mean you should be running the machine that at that top speed. Okay, because sometimes running a machine at top speed can kind of mess up the quality. So I like to slow down my machine. So when I do stuff like this, where I have to really make it like very fine. So if you notice, you look at this logo, okay, and you see the sisters, services, and strength and sisterhood, whatever, and all that stuff, all of that is clear. It's clear. You can read it. You can see it. You're like, "Oh, it's clear." Okay. I like my stuff to be nice, crisp, clean, and clear. Okay. So you have to think of all that. How long is one stitch out going to take? That's time. Okay. How much thread? All right. So you got to think of all this stuff. So as tempting as it could be, because you want to make the sale. Okay, as tempting as it can be when people come out and then they say, "Hey, how much is something like this cost?" I always say, well, there's a lot of things that I have to get first before I can give you a price. I got to get more details before I can give you an estimate. That's how I handle it. I can't give you a price right off the bat. I have to know more. That's what you do. Just tell them that. And trust me, you'll know if they're serious also or not. Because if you respond that way, okay, and they just say, oh, okay, and they don't push and say, okay, well, this is what I want, da, 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 and they don't talk the details and stuff like that, then trust me, that's not a serious customer. Okay, they're looking to just get a fast price and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes some people, they know that embroidery can be very expensive, especially when it's a lot of detailed work and all that kind of stuff and everything. They're probably just looking to make a fast, to get a low ball sale and stuff like that. So don't let people take advantage of you, because that is something that happens a lot. So anyway, I'm getting off the soapbox on that. I just want to make sure, because I don't want people feeling some kind of way, because nobody likes to be taken advantage of. Okay, never give a price up right up front. Okay, that's something. All right. So we're talking about color threads. Okay, that's the question you got to ask the customer. Okay, and because like I said, if you have something in stock in your shop, then it's not a problem. You got the thread. Use it, right? But if it's something that you have to order, well, guess what? Who's paying for that thread? You are, right? It's coming out of your pocket, and you got to pay for the shipping and all that stuff to get to the house. So you want to make sure you incorporate all that in your price. Okay? So to think about. All right. Now, number 8, any personalization details. Okay. And what I mean by that, any personalizational details is, I'm talking about, like, let's say, I have a lady that's coming tomorrow. She's going to be bringing me a dress. She wants me to embroider a name on a dress. Okay. So, I already know the font that she wants. I know the name, but there's still more details that I need. Like, how big do you want it to be? How thick do you want it to be? Okay. The color, and all that kind of stuff and everything. So, the personalizational details, make sure you gather that. Okay. And at the same time, too, sometimes when you ask these questions to customers, they're sometimes not going to know. They're not going to know some of these answers. So you're going to have to help them out. Okay. Like, the lady that's coming with the dress tomorrow, of course, she doesn't know what fonts I have. So she comes out, she's like, well, I know I want the little girl's name on her dress. So I said, let me send you some samples. So what I'll do is I'll open up in Brilliance. I'll type the little girl's name in several different font sizes, and I'll take a picture of it and I'll send it to her, and I'll ask her, does any of these fonts look good to you? And then also, then I have to ask the question, do you want it to be 1 inch, 1.5? Do you want it to be big? Do you want it to be 2 inches? And then sometimes, you can't do certain things through the computer. So usually, like with tomorrow, what I'll probably be doing is I'm going to be having the template, and when I mean the template is in Brilliance, you get to print out, okay, the file, how it's going to stitch. Okay. And what I'll usually do is I'll say, okay, well, this is 1 inch, this is 2 inch. And then she could put it on top, on top of the dress where she wants it embroidered. And then she can tell me the size that she wants and stuff like that. And then at the same time, when she comes tomorrow, because I know she wants the pink thread, I can show her all the different shades of pink that I have in stock, so that way she can pick it. So, you have to think of the personalizational details, the style of the font, the size, the colors and all that kind of stuff and everything. The other thing also that I recommend that folks do is samples. Now, what do I mean by samples? I'm not saying go out, buy a shirt and embroider the thing and give it to people. No, you don't do that. That you're giving your service for free. What I mean by samples is, this is a sample. This is what I'm talking about by doing a sample. The test stitch out. because what you're doing is you're showing the customer, this is what it's going to look like when I stitch it out. Okay. And then you can imagine it on a shirt, okay, or on a bag or whatever it is that you want to do. Okay. So this is the sample. I don't let the customers take the sample. Okay. Even, whether I make the sale or not, whatever. These are my samples. They also serve two purposes. First of all, this shows the customer how it's going to look. And this also is something that I use for potential customers. If I have someone and they say, hey, I'm looking for someone to do embroidery and I need 100 shirts or 100 jackets and stuff like that. Do you have samples of your work? Absolutely. Yes, I have samples of my work. And this is kind of like my little portfolio, I guess you could say. I have them all, I put them in little baggies and stuff. And then I say, this is samples of items that I have done. Okay. So it kind of serves two things. Okay. Oh yeah, I did mention the font styles. Okay. Always ask, do you want print? Do you want script? Do you want I don't know if I said it right. Monogram, the initials? Okay, I might say this wrong. Sorry guys. Okay. So the font style, do you want print? Do you want script? Also, okay, number 11. Oh, I'm going kind of fast today. Oh my God, this is pretty cool. Okay. Number 11, the size and the placement. That is also something that's pretty important to ask, because you would be surprised how some people will want an embroidery to be placed on a particular item that it's not, you're not going to be able to hoop it, or it's not going to look right, or you might, always ask about the placement. Never take for granted that where the customer is going to want something to be embroidered. Okay. They may come out with some off the wall thing that says, oh, I want my logo to be embroidered on, I don't know, somewhere on the item. Okay. Where it's going to be difficult for you to hoop. And then depending on the machine that you have, if you have a single needle or even a multi needle, if you can't hoop it correctly, you might have to undo the item. Okay. Like there have been a couple of times, like with oven mitts, some people wanted oven mitts. I have to actually, because the oven mitt is the opening is so small, it's tight. So I have to undo the seam of the oven mitt in order to give me enough opening so that I can hoop it. All right. So you sometimes, you have to think of all that. So always ask for the placement of where they want the logo or the name or whatever the embroidery is that they want. Okay. Always ask for the placement. Where is it that you want it? Because that is also going to give you an indication of, oh, okay, it's going to be easy to hoop. That's not a problem. Or, oh, that's going to be a little challenge because now I have to undo the seams. Well, guess what? If you have to undo the seams, that's time. That's time. And if you're going to take that order on, you're going to want to have to charge for that time. Okay. You don't want to gyp yourself. All right. So that's something else. Now, this goes down to the 12th one. Okay. Pricing, which I have kind of been alluding to the whole time. Okay. As you're having these questions with your customers about the type of embroidery they want, and they start providing you the answers, eventually you're going to have the discussion of pricing. My recommendation is you never give the pricing right away. Tell them that you will get back with them the next day. Okay, because you got to look into it some more. The reason why I say that is because you just got all this information, right? You need to have the time to sit down, look at all the information as a whole, and then make a good determination about what would be a fair price, not just to the customer, but to you too. Okay. We don't want to, you don't want to charge so much where the person, is going to give up their house. But at the same time, you don't want to feel gypped either. You want a price that's fair. That's how I do it. I consider it fair. Okay. And you have to take in consideration all of the work that's required in order to get, do the type of embroidery that the customer wants. Think about the quality, the quantity also. Don't forget to ask about that. Well, how many shirts are you looking at? Because you already know, okay, well, if it takes me 1 hour to stitch out a shirt and you're asking for six, okay, that's 6 hours out of the day that I'm going to be embroidering. All right. So, and it depends on how many machines you have and all that kind of stuff. Because, like with me, I have two multi needles, so I can have both machines running at the same time. So it doesn't, the time is shorter. All right. Versus if I had one machine, if I had one machine, I could only work on one machine at a time. But if I have two machines, like these two, then I can have one shirt embroidered and one shirt embroidered on the same hour. You know, am I making sense? So it's like that, I have to think about all of that. You know what I mean? So, you have to make sure that when you're pricing your items, that you also include all the time, all the materials, all the services that are required in order for you to do that order. Okay. And when I'm talking about all the services required, I'm talking about the digitizing, the extra ordering of items. Okay. If you're going to be providing the products, you have to make sure you're incorporating that in there. If you're you got to make sure you are incorporating the digitizing, the testing of the logo, and any type of materials extra that you have to buy. For instance, what if you have to buy extra stabilizer? If the project requires a special type of stabilizer? You got to make sure you incorporate that in there. Um, you know, um, or special thread. Let's say this person comes out and says, "Well, I want metallic thread." Okay, well, if you want metallic thread, there's two things I have to consider. First of all, I got to make sure I have that metallic thread, and I have to make sure I have the color of the metallic thread that you want. And what goes through the back of my mind is metallic thread is a different type of thread. Okay. I have to really slow down that machine. And I'm really going to want to test stitch that design to make sure that that thread is going to look good when it's embroidered. Okay. And to me, this is how I do. Okay. My stuff got to look good. It has to look good, because even though you make this and it's the customer that purchased it, when the customer wears this, they are representing their company, yes, but this embroidery represents you and your skill set and your company as an embroiderer. You don't want anything leaving your shop looking funky. No, you don't. Because you don't want somebody to look at it and go, "Ooh, where'd you get that? Who did that for you?" And then they tell your name and they're going to be like, "I ain't using her." You know what I'm saying? So you always want to make sure that that not just the customer is happy with the end result, you got to be happy with it too, because you got to remember it's carrying your name. Okay. So, I'm getting hot. So, just something for you to think about. Okay. Don't just, and it's okay to say no to an order. I said no to orders all the time. I've always, I said no to orders. Um, Let me give you an examples of when I've said no to orders, so that way you guys can understand, because you guys may have situations and stuff like that. I've had situations where I've gathered all the requirements and stuff like that, and then I say, "This is how much it's going to cost." And I had one lady that came out and said, "Oh, well, I found somebody that'll do it half the price." My response to that person was, "Good for you. Let them do it." The reason why I say that is because I am not going to allow anybody to make me do work and devalue me. It's just not going to happen. It's like you got the wrong chick. Okay. You're talking to the wrong one. You need to really, the one that's going to do half price, you got to go with that person. That person is the one you be talking to, because you ain't going to talk to me about that, because I already know my price. And like I keep saying it, my pricing to me is fair. It's fair to the customer. It's fair to me. I don't do the negotiation. That's not going to happen. There's too many customers out there. There's too many customers out there, and I'm just not going to do it. I don't fight over nickel and diming. That's just not going to happen. So you're going to have people that are going to try to undercut you. Okay. So I turn down those orders all the time. I turn them down all the time. The other times that I turn down orders is when I see that the customer is very wishy-washy. Okay. They change their mind a lot. They just keep going like, oh, they know what they want, and then they change, and then they change, and they change. Then what I just do is I just tell them, I say, you're not ready. You're not ready. Just let me know when you are. Okay. Because I got other orders I need to focus on, because I'd rather put my attention on those guys that know what they want. And those are the customers that I love. I love them. It's like they reach out to me. They're like, hey, Jeanette, these are the shirts. Sometimes they'll be at the store. They send me pictures of the shirt that they're holding up. And I'm like, what material is it? They respond real quick. They go, this is the material. And then they say, this is my logo. This is what I want. This is where, those are the ones that I love, because those are the customers that it's like, they're serious. They're like, oh, but when I get the wishy-washy, the ones that, they ask me a question, I respond right away. And then all of a sudden it's like, I don't hear from them like 2, 3 days, 4 days, a week. I don't bother with them because they're not serious. Okay. That's why I say the first question I always ask is, when do you need it by? When do you need it by? Because that already gives me an indication whether this person is serious, they really do need to put an order, or this person is just fishing. And it's okay to fish. I'll answer the questions. I don't have a problem with that. But the thing is, I'm not going to really dedicate my time, because my time is too precious. I'd rather dedicate it to somebody that I already know I got to work that order. Okay. So that's just how I kind of deal with it and stuff. I mean, you kind of be surprised. I mean, there's a lot of characters out there. There really are. There are a lot of characters out there, but there are a lot of good people too. And I have to admit, I have met a lot of other business owners that I really enjoy working with them. I really, really do, because they, I kind of like that sometimes they actually challenge my skill. And when I mean challenge my skill is they come to me with new stuff, right? Like they'll come to me and say, hey, I want to do bath towels, or hey, I want to do the jackets, like the construction company. These folks, where's their logo? This was a challenge. This was a big challenge. Okay, because of the I've never did fonts this small. Never. This is the smallest fonts I've ever done, and I was worried. And this was on the car I think they're called Carhartt jackets. Okay, very thick jacket. I had to reach out to Liliana to find out about, how can I hoop this jacket so that the fabric doesn't shift and everything. Okay. And, this was really challenging. So, but I love it. I love it because that's going to get you to the next level. Because now that I did his jackets, if another company came to me with a whole bunch of those jackets, I would be like, no problem. No problem. I know exactly how to hoop it. I know what stabilizer to use. I'm on it. I would be like, when do you need it by? When do you need it by? So there's a lot of things, that you got to think about and stuff. Now, I remember the comment she asked, do you have a list of questions that you ask your customers? Well, actually, what I just told you guys is really what I kind of ask the questions. Now, Do I have a list? I don't really have a form and I go through the list or anything like that. It's really just starts as a conversation. And as I talk to the customer and I start asking about the project, and the fabric, the item, the embroidery and stuff like that, the conversation kind of like just starts going and I start asking questions and it just kind of naturally happens. Now, if you're starting out, you might want to create a list of all the questions so that you can make sure you don't forget to ask these questions. But these are things that after you've been embroidering for a while, they're kind of natural questions that just kind of come out. You kind of already know, you can look at things and you'll kind of already kind of have an idea of how you're going to be able to, embroider that item and stuff like that. And your confidence level does go up because there have been times when I have had customers come to me and send me a picture of a shirt or drop off a shirt and I'll be like, oh, I can't embroider that. That is too thin. Or, I'll tell them, okay, I can try, and then I had to educate them on puckering and let them know because this is so thin, instead of doing 2 sheets of stabilizer, I might need to put 3. Okay. And I mean, a lot of times though, I do pretty good. I don't really mess up anything, but I always like to let the customer know up front, okay, and stuff. So, and I've seen some people like they have like how you deal with certain things. It really depends on you. Like some people they're very nervous about taking other people's products, okay? And I always ask the questions. All right, I always ask the questions, where did you get it from? Okay, and I tell people things happen. All right, if I can't get that replaced, so you're going to be okay with that, because I'll pay for it. I mean, you tell me how much you paid for it, I'll pay for the item. I'm okay with that. I'll eat the cost. I don't mind taking that risk. Now, some people do. Some people may have a problem taking that risk, and that's okay. That's okay. It's all on you, right? I've even heard some people sign an agreement and stuff. To me, I could understand if it was a very expensive item, okay? But a lot of times the stuff that I'm getting is it's a polo shirt, the dime a dozen, okay? The dime a dozen polo shirts, unless it's a designer polo shirt. And usually, if it's a designer polo shirt, I'll look it up, and then if I see that it's up there, I'll turn down the embroidery because I just tell them, I go, this is very expensive and it's gonna, I gotta pay for it if it gets messed up. Now I have risked it, like the jackets, those were $150 a pop. Now I didn't realize that they were $150 a pop when I took that order, okay? But I just said, screw it. I'm gonna do it. And if it messes up, it's gonna be okay. That means everybody in this family is gonna be walking around wearing those jackets, okay? Because I was like, I'll buy them from the customer and I'll say I'm sorry, but here's the money, and then I'll have a jacket, and Fred will be wearing the jacket, and so will Cardito, okay? And yeah, I'll even get one for Mello. I mean, what you gonna do, right? But to me, I look at it like sometimes if you don't take risks, then you're not really gonna learn. Sometimes you have to so that you can get better and your skill set can improve and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes you got to do it. You just got to suck it up and just try it, okay? I did have that fear for the longest, and thankfully it was because of Liliana. She's the one that actually pushed me, and she was like, you got to get out of that comfort zone, and she pushed me, and now I do okay. I do okay, and sometimes mistakes happen. Just be upfront with the customer. That's always helped me. I'm always upfront with the customer and say, hey, if something happens to this garment, how do you want me to resolve it? That's what I ask. That's what I tell them. Can we replace this? Now, there was one person that came to me with these dinner napkins that were in her family for years. I did not touch those because they're not replaceable. So I was like, oh no, absolutely not. I think they were in her family for like 20 years, something like that, 20 or 30 years, something like that. They were dinner napkins that she inherited from her grandmother, something like that. And I was like, no, I will not touch that. And I didn't touch it because I know that that is something that, first of all, it's not replaceable, and it has a lot of personal value to her. So even though I looked at the fabric, and I gotta be honest, I was kind of like, "Oh, I could do it, but I didn't want to chance it. I really didn't want to chance it because, guys, they're machines. Machines have attitudes too. Okay. I did a video where, I started experiencing bird's nest on my multi-needle machine, and I posted the video in case any of you guys had any type of bird nest problems, to see how you fix it, how you clean out the machine and fix it. Okay. I mean, if you don't know. I mean, sometimes things happen, right? Sometimes you think you threaded the machine correctly. Sometimes you think your bobbin is okay. And you turn that button and the machine just goes crazy on you. But if if that happens on an item that I know that I can replace, I'm good with that. But to do it on something that was that precious, I just didn't want to chance it and stuff like that. So, you know, but yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys have other questions that you guys ask your customers, and if you do, put them in the comments so that way we can all share. But yeah, but those are usually the questions that I ask customers and stuff. And and be upfront about the pricing, and also make sure you inform them that the money has to come up front. Okay, the money has to come up front. Now, there have been times, if I have something that's like a multi order that's coming up, I will eat the cost of the digitizing. However, do I really eat the cost of digitizing? Not really. Because what I usually do is I write down how much the digitizing costs, and then I incorporate it in the price when I actually stitch out all the items. Okay. I just don't let the customer know that it's $25 up front for this. Okay. Um, I just incorporate that in my pricing. Now, sometimes though, I like to test stitch all of the designs, okay? And the reason why I kind of like doing this, even if like the customer comes out and says, oh, well, and doesn't place an order, it's like, okay, you could look at it like, okay, well, it's a loss because I had it digitized and I had to pay the digitizer. But I don't look at it much as a loss because, first of all, the digitizing didn't cost that much. And I actually got to test stitch it. And I have an added collection to my portfolio to show other people when they ask to see samples of my work. you know and I mean, you got to practice, like I said, this is skills. This is practicing a skill, so you want to make sure that when you are embroidering, that you're embroidering good quality stuff. So a lot of times when people come to me and they say, hey, I need some custom embroidery, unless if it's something simple like this, I know that getting this digitized is not going to cost a lot of money. Okay. But if they come to me with something that's like this, okay, that's very detailed, then I say, okay, well, the digitizing costs this much. And in order for us to even start the process, you have to pay for the digitizing upfront. And then I will bill them for the digitizing. And then they give me the logo, I get it digitized, and then this is what they get. And then I say, okay, you've already paid for the digitizing. So I tell them, because you paid for the digitizing and you're getting 25 shirts, I kind of incorporate that cost into the shirts, so that way they kind of like it kind of makes the customer feel like they got that money back. And at the same time, I let them know, because I have your file now, any type of future orders that you put in, there's no digitizing fee at all. Okay, I already got your file. We're good. All you got to do is just bring me your products. I get it embroidered, and this is how much it would be to embroider this, okay, on these type of products. However, though, I do let them know that it depends also, the price depends on what you want me to embroider on, okay? Because if you're asking me to embroider like tote bags and I need to make this bigger, okay, well, I'm going to have to reach out to the digitizer to enlarge the logo, because you don't want to just take something like this and throw it in brilliance and just make it big. Okay, you want good quality stitching. So my preference is to go to the digitizer and have them do the enlargement for me, so that way they can put in any extra stitches that are missing and stuff, and then I get to test stitch it, and we go by the whole process all over again. Okay, so yeah, so guys, those were the things that I kind of think about, or questions that I ask customers whenever I'm taking orders from them. So I'm just gonna go down the chat and I'm gonna say hi to you guys and stuff. See, it's like 88 of you guys out there and stuff. Hey, Miss Max, how are you? I see Marlene and Iris. And Iris, I hope you get better soon and stuff. I'm gonna be praying for you, girl. Hey Peggy, I see Bridget. Hey Elma. Hey Robin, how are you? Let's see. I see Barbara from Ohio. Hey Angie, how you doing? First time here. Welcome, Angie. Yeah, everybody's concerned about Miss Iris. I hope you get better soon. Hey Veronica, how you doing? Hey May, how are you? Hey Iron, Richmond in the house. My son is in Richmond. He's going to VCU right now, so he's in Richmond, and my stepdaughter Ashley lives in Richmond also, and so. Hey Venice, how are you? Hey Mickey, how you doing? Hey Judy. Hey Miss Banks, how are you doing? Hey Terry. Okay, I see Wendy in the house. Hey Susan. I see Debbie in here. I see Mary, Angela, Ruth, Robin, Cornish from Maryland. Hey J Love, how you doing? And if you guys have questions, put them in the chat. Or if there's a question that you guys ask your customers that I did not bring up, share it. Share it, because that way we help each other out and stuff like that. Hey Eartha, how you doing? Hey Luna Designs, I see Gail. Jeanette, do you write everything on the back of the sample? Yes, I do, Marlene. Yes, look, let me show you. Yes, thank you for asking that, because I usually do that. Okay, now, what is the information? This is something that's really, really good, and this is very, very helpful for you guys, okay? When you do these sample stitches, one of the things that I usually do is I'll write down like the color, like right here, I put down, here's the size, and then I put down any issues that I experience while I'm testing this sample out. I put down, you got to machine slow down, so you got to slow it down. And then I put down the color, the numbers of the colors that I use, okay, because there's, like I said, in here, this is like a raspberry red, okay, so I usually do that. Here I'll even put like the weight thread, okay, what type of weight thread I used, okay, like this is a 40 weight. I put see right here, 40 weight black, okay. Let's see right here, if you have a mixture, right? In some of these things where, you have a logo where you use 40 weight in certain sections and 60 weight in certain other sections, I write it down as well. See, this is a 3-inch tri. And in here, the black thread is a 40 weight. The white thread is a 60 weight. See? Because customs is small letters, right? So every time you have like small fonts, so it's a good idea to use a 60 weight. Now, one thing that you don't see that I have here, and it's because I always remember, but if you're new, you may want to put this down. When you are embroidering with 60 weight thread, the needle that you want to use is a 65-9 needle, okay? And when you are embroidering with a 40 weight thread, you want to use a 75-11 needle. Now, there's also different types of needles. You have sharp needles and you have ballpoint. Now, the sharp and the ballpoint is going to depend on the material that you're using. For instance, if I am using let's say I'm embroidering this is a shirt, right? But the fabric is stretchy. It's a stretchy fabric. When I'm embroidering stretchy fabric, I always use a ballpoint needle. If I am embroidering like a hat where the fabric is hard, I use a sharp. Okay, so it's something else to think about. Okay, so what I kind of like about doing this too is, like, let's say like for this one especially, right? I do a lot of shirts for this club. Okay, and a lot of times it's not like they come to me and say, hey, I want 100 at a time. What they'll do is they'll come to me and say, hey, I need 15. And then, like, 2 or 3 months later, they'll say, I need another 10. And then another 4 months later, they'll say, hey, can you do another 30? And what happens is you work on so many orders that sometimes you really don't remember certain things that you did for certain logos. So writing as much information in the back, which is why I don't give these to customers. Okay, I just give it to them so they can look at it. After that, they give it back. Okay, because I have important information written. Now, this is the stabilizer. Okay, this is the stabilizer. This is the fabric, and this is the stabilizer. So on the stabilizer, I just take a ballpoint pen and I write down as much information about the file that I possibly can. So that way, if I have to go back and redo this, I already know the color numbers. I already know the sizes of the needle. I already know if there's any type of things that I should remember, like right here. See, I put machine, slow it down, and then look, I even put down the speed. I slowed it down to 800. Okay. All right. And then it says jump stitches easier, which means that because I slow it down, if I have any jump stitches in the small fonts, they're easier to cut. Okay. They don't get buried or anything like that. So, so that's, yeah. But Marlene, thank you so much for, for that comment. Yeah, because yes, that is something that I definitely do. And that is something that I highly recommend, especially when you have a lot of customers. And then this is another thing too. When I do these things for these customers, I keep them in little baggies like this. I have these little plastic bags. Okay. Like this is another one that I did. Okay. And if I open this bag up, and I look in back of this, no, I don't have it on here. I have it on the paper. I have it on the paper and stuff. But, whatever method works for you. You can do this, Okay, if you want, you could put it on the paper. And then, but what I usually do is I have each one of these in, for each customer, I have a little baggie. I have a little baggie with all their designs and their logos all in one, with all the information in there. Okay, so this is for the doctor that I did, so he'll have a baggie, and I took the baggies out, but this is a whole other SK Customs. This is all their logos, right? So all this goes in a one baggie, so that way when what's his name? Simon. So when Simon comes and he needs more shirts or something like that, I look for his little baggie, and then I'm like, okay, Simon, these are the ones that we have digitized for you already. Okay. And I also have on my computer, I have folders with all my customers' names on them, and all of their digitized files are under their name. That way, when we look at these, I can go into the computer and I know exactly where to find their file. But I like to keep everything nice and neat. And I even have like his templates. I'll put everything together all in one little thing. Okay. And here I write down like this. This is the 4-inch. And then this is the 3-inch. That way, I don't have to like reprint them. And he knows I know what I have and stuff. So yeah, so it's a good way to keep organized and stuff. With Jimmy, I didn't write much with Jimmy because I already, looking at all this, I can kind of tell right off the bat. The only, so if you don't, if I know I'm gonna remember, then I won't write anything in the back. Like with this, I'll automatically remember. I know that these small letters back here, these are 60 weight for sure. Okay. Now the Jimmy, I know that is 60 weight, but if I wanted to, I could do Jimmy in 40 weight thread. Okay, because Jimmy is a bigger font. All right, and then the rest of this design right here, that's all 40 weight. So it's like some stuff I know automatically. And then with these, the ladies and stuff, here are logos that I have bigger. Okay, and here's another one that I did, and I got a whole bunch of information that I wrote on this one. Okay, it has this is a 4.5 by 4.5, or if they want to do tote bags and stuff like that. I used 40 weight threads. How many minutes? 33,000 stitches on this. See, you write as much information as you possibly can, because this is going to help you. Okay, because you don't want to like go and somebody comes to you and then all of a sudden you're like, shoot, what was that again? And then at the same time, because I already know how many minutes it took to stitch this out, and I already got a stitch count on here and all that kind of stuff, even though I could always just go and open the file, and the file right in Embroidery will tell me the stitch count and all that kind of stuff, but it makes it a little easier for me to price it a little faster. And then in their little baggie, I have the thread that I purchased for them. Okay, so it's like, like this is the raspberry red, and the others is just the white and the black, and and I can use that for other stuff, but I just happen to just put everything in the baggie and stuff, so that way it's just easier for me to just grab it if they want something embroidered and stuff like that. And then with this one, this was a customer that showed some interest. It was a very simple stitch, so I just went and I just had it digitized and I stitched it out, sent them the picture. Haven't heard back from them, so I already kind of like, that's fine. It's all good. I mean, it's sample for me, to show off and stuff. But yeah, I got a whole bunch of other ones and stuff like that. But this is usually how I have it, and then I just have like a little box. And when the customers come back, I know where their digitized files are, and I already have their sample stitches, and yeah, makes it a lot easier. So you always try to get organized and stuff like that. Let me see. Hey, Sassy, how are you? High 50. Yeah, very warm today. It was beautiful today. Oh, thank you so much for the super chat, Janine. I appreciate that. Thank you. Hey, Annette, how are you? Okay, okay. Now Peggy got a question here. Okay. Do you have to use number 9 needles for lettering on the badges? No. Okay. Peggy, you use the 65/9 needle when the lettering is small. When you have very small fonts, you use it. Now, let me give you an example. Okay. Let me give you an example. All right. So let's go back to this one. Okay. This is very small. Okay. Where you see the services. You see right here where it has services and all that. This is small. This is very small lettering. It probably doesn't look small because I kind of have it all up in the camera, so it kind of looks a little big. But let's look at this one, Jimmy. Jimmy is a lot bigger. I can use a 75/11 40 weight. Okay. All right. Now, I don't quote me on this, but I believe that if you were to use 40 weight thread with a 65/9 needle, you might get a little bit of shredding. That's what I'm thinking, because I think the eye of the needle for a 65/9 is a lot smaller than a 75/11. Okay. The weight of a 60 weight thread is a lot thinner, which is why you want to use that thread for very small fonts, especially, yeah, like this right here at the bottom. This is so super small. You definitely, I recommend a number 9 needle. And this is another thing that you can do, Peggy, just for fun. And because I've done this, okay, and it's, you do it so that you could learn, okay. Like when I first started learning about the weight threads, right? You were like 40 weight, 60 weight, and I was like, oh god, like, what's the difference? Does it really matter? You start asking yourself these questions, because sometimes I'm like wondering, do you really need to know, or are they trying to hustle you so that you could spend more money on thread? You never know, right? Sometimes what you could do is, when you're doing your samples, run them, because I've done that. Like, I've taken a sample like this, and these small letters, I've done it with 40 weight thread, and then I'll do it again with 60 weight thread, and then I'll put them side by side just so that I could see the difference. And the same thing with the different needles, right? So when I do the 40 weight, I did the 75/11 needle, and then I took it out, and then I hooped it again, and then I redid it with a 65/9 needle and 60 weight thread, did it side by side, just so that I could see what's the difference, what's the big deal. When I did that, I saw that the 40 weight thread is thicker. And because it's thicker, when you have small letters like this, it's not gonna look clear. Okay, when I looked at the 60 weight, it was very, very, very clear. When I looked at the 40 weight, it stitched out okay, but it was kind of more bunched up, so it made it a little harder to read and stuff like that. So just play around with it. Don't be afraid to play around with it. Sometimes people say, oh, I don't want to waste time, or I don't want to waste thread or fabric and stuff like that. When you do these test stitches, really, that's how you learn. That's when you start going, oh, okay, well, now I know why it's important to use the right weight with the right size font, and why it's important to use the size 9 versus the size 11. Okay, so the answer, really, I know I gave you like a mouthful, Peggy, I'm sorry, but do you need a 9 for all badges? No. My thing is, it depends on how big your lettering is going to be on the badge, because you can have a badge with a big letter, and then you could also have the badge with small letters. So if you're using the small letters, I would recommend using the 9 with a 60 weight. But if your badge has big letters, it could take the 7511 size needle with the 40 weight and stuff. So yeah, I hope that helps. I hope that helps and stuff. Hey Nancy, I see my sister's online. Hey Patricia, how are you? Oh, Nancy's been food shopping. Hey Crafty Puerto Rican, how you doing, girl? Um, Husband always telling me to give a price. Yeah, Marlene, I just don't want to run away. I just want to run away. Yeah. It and you know, that is the thing. That is one of the things that I find is one of the toughest things, is that when people come to you and they know that you do the embroidery, right? They come on, they say, "Hey, I want to get something like this done. How much does this cost?" It's like right away they just want, well, how much does this cost? And what I usually do is I just say, I have to get more details in order for you to give me a price. And I'm gonna tell you something. This is the reason why I say don't give a price right away. You could come out and say, well, I think it might be $10 or $20 a shirt, something like that. Well, what's going to happen is that customer's going to say, "Oh, you said $10." They don't hear the price range that you just said. Okay, remember I said, well, it'd be around $10 to $20. They're not going to hear $10, $20. What they hear is $10, the low number, right? So you don't want to give a price and then they come out and say, "Oh, okay, I want it." And then what happens is then you do all this, you're doing all this work, and then they say, "Well, you said it was $10." And then you're like, "No." So that's why I say be very careful on giving the price. Make sure that you do all your homework first, you calculate everything, and when you determine the price that you want to charge, that you are determining a price that you're comfortable with, okay? And sometimes also you're gonna hear some people, because I remember once somebody gave me a comment going, "Oh, your prices are too low." Well, no, I think my prices are fair. And this is the thing too. You have to price the way you want. To me, there's no right or wrong, okay? Because everybody has different goals. Some people they do it because they want to charge high or whatever, right? Or they need that extra money. Some people are doing this for fun, and they just want to make an extra couple of bucks. You know, it really depends what you want out of it, okay? Um, to me, I just look at it as I just want to be fair to the customer and I want to be fair to me, because I kind of know that things are high out there. Inflation's up there, people are struggling and stuff like that. And I don't have, I don't want somebody to feel like, "Oh shoot, so damn expensive that I can't get it." You know, um, I I just want to be fair. And what I mean is, I don't mind making an extra couple of bucks. I don't need to be, you know, I don't need to if I create a dinner napkin, right? I made my money back on the dinner napkins and I did pay myself. I'm good with that. I don't need to do dinner napkins and say, okay, a set of 12 dinner napkins is $350. I feel like, to me that's like price gouging, and I'm not comfortable with price gouging because I wouldn't want somebody to price gouge with me. You know what I mean? So, you know, to each his own, okay? To each his own. My thing that's really important is that you don't jip yourself. That's what I say. Nobody's the same. Everyone has different perspectives. Everybody has different views and ideas, and everybody has different needs and wants. So you just have to focus on what it is that you want and what your needs are. That's why, like, when people say, oh, I want to buy a certain machine, I know I frustrate a lot of people because they say, well, this is what should I buy? I'm not going to tell you what to buy, because it's like telling you what car to drive. um Everyone has different needs. What my best solution is, look at everything and make the decision that's comfortable for you. The same thing like with pricing, okay? You don't want to price yourself too low, because I don't want you to then have the feeling that you felt like you got taken advantage of. That's the only thing that I really caution you about. I don't want you to ever like take an order and then all of a sudden at the end of the day the customer is happy, but then you feel like crap. And you feel like crap because you didn't gain anything out of it, or you felt like you got taken advantage. That's why, to me, I always say you price. To me, how I do it is, for me, is I want to be fair. I want to be fair to them, because yes, I want them to get the best bang for their buck. I want that for them, because hell, who doesn't? Okay, I do. That's why I shop coupons all the time, and I get those discounted gift cards and all that kind of stuff. Everybody wants to get the best bang for their buck. But at the same time, I want to feel value too. So I make sure that when I'm pricing my items, I'm doing it so that it's fair for both parties. Which is why when customers come to me and they say, oh, I can get it cheaper somewhere else, or, they come up with a remark, well, I want you to lower your price. No, I won't do it, because I already have that mindset. I price this way for a reason. And if you feel that you can get it cheaper from somewhere else, do that, because it's up to that person that's doing the embroidery. And they might have a different goal than what I have. Okay, they probably are okay with embroidering things for free, because not everybody does embroidery for money. Some people do it because they just enjoy doing it. It gives them something to do, and they feel good about it. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But I know with me, right now, I can't do that like that, because then Carlito will be at a bench somewhere. Okay. So, and I got to pay for his school. So, but yeah. So anyway, enough about that. So anyway, let me go back down it. Hey Sonia, how you doing? Hey Angela, what size needle and thread did you use for the smaller letters, Miss Jeanette? Hey Angela, when I do the small letters, usually what I do is I use a 65-9 needle and I use 60 weight thread. Okay. And the best place to buy 60 weight thread, Angela, is I find if you go to I think it's allstitch.com. Hold on, I'll tell you in a minute. Hold on. And the reason why I say this site works for me is because they have the chart. Okay, and so you could buy the same color thread in a 40 weight and a 60 weight. So let me give you the site. I'll tell you in a minute, because like I said, in some, I did a video on, when you do a logo, sometimes you do have a mixture of different weight threads within a design. Sometimes you might need the thread, like in some designs, you'll see that I fill it with white. And if I fill it with white, sometimes that's 40 weight thread, like this one. Okay, this is a perfect example. The thread that's inside this circle right here, the white, that's 40 weight thread. When you look at these letters here, that's 60 weight thread. Okay, so but let me give you the West thing. I think it's not all stitch. It's Is it? Okay, hold on. Yes, All Stitch. It is All Stitch. Allstitch.com, okay, is where I like to buy my 60 weight thread because I can get the matching 40 weight thread if I need to. And it's Madeira thread. It's Madeira thread. So yeah. Let me see. Marlene said, I got a request for design to be embroidered, very dense, small details, 45,000 stitches. That's a lot. And the person is in business for 15 years. I don't get it. I don't get it why he asked me. Okay, well, I don't know what he asked you, Marlene. But what I would do if you have something that's 45,000 stitches and it's very dense, like I said, it's going to depend. It's going to depend on how long that stitch takes, and you got to make sure you calculate that, and then make sure that you know what it is that he wants on what item, how big, and all that kind of stuff and everything. And yeah, I would just price, and then how many. That's the other thing too. Think about that. Okay. Hey Angie, can you provide the info of who you use for digitizing? Yes, the info is on Facebook, on the Facebook group, which is Embroidery Happy Hour Adventures. Fazil is on that group, and he is the person. He's really my number one digitizer. He's the one that I use the most. I have others that I use as well, but he is usually the one that I use and stuff. But his information can be found in our Facebook group. Hey Susan, hit the like button. Oh, thank you. Hey Marlene. Yes, Robin. Yeah, I use the 40 weight for the small letters. That is exactly true. That is what I use. Oh, yes. And if you guys like tonight's topic, please give me a thumbs up. It really helps the channel a lot. I'm trying to keep it growing and keep sharing information and stuff. And special shout out to Linda, who asked me that, had posted that comment that made today's embroidery happy hour about this, because I know that this is a topic. As soon as she posted it, I was like, you know what? I know that this is a topic that's going to help a lot of people, because people sometimes, sometimes you get flustered, you really don't know what to ask, right? And you don't really get into it, it doesn't dawn on you until you actually starting, and then you're like, shoot, I should have asked about the colors. Oh, I should have asked about the size. Man, I didn't think about the cost of digitizing. I didn't even ask them how many, or when they need it by, because if they come on, they say, well, I needed it yesterday, and that's another thing too. When people come to you and then they have a rush order, I know some people, they add a rush order fee. Okay, so that's something you may want to think about, depending on how big that order is. And if it's a rush, you may want to add a rush order fee. Because and if they get upset about it, I would let them know and say, well, a rush order fee means you get in front of the line. So all these other orders that I have, they're going to have to wait until I finish your order, because you're kind of skipping the line. That's really what you're doing, right? So you got to pay for that. You got to pay for that, because now I have to tell the other customers that they have to wait for their stuff because I got to work on yours. So that's something that you may want to incorporate in your pricing. I know some people do that and stuff. Let's see. The last thing I was doing is driving anywhere this town. It's going to be crazy. Oh, Super Bowl. Everybody's getting ready for the Super Bowl. Hey, Ink with Leather. Just got my machine. I'm only embroidering things for my markets. No intention to do clothing. Did that for 15 years for other companies. Yeah, everybody has their niche. Everybody. See, I'm not too big on the clothing either, but for logos like this, I don't mind. Like, for businesses, I don't mind. For like, kids' clothes and stuff, if you want a name or an initial, something like that, I don't mind that because I consider those simple things. But yeah, clothing can be um a, a mess, especially if they want you to buy the clothes. Okay. That I'm kind of like, I usually what I'll do in those situations, because see, this is the thing with the clothes that I don't like. There's so many sizes. There's so many different types of fabric. There's so many cuts and texture. Some people like their shirts straight. Some people, especially like females, we some of us like it straight. Some of us likes our shirts curvy. Some people like the soft shirts. Some people like the rough shirts. Some people don't like polyester. Some people like cotton. I mean, there's just so much variety. I don't want to get in the business of having to order all these shirts. So what I usually do is when customers say, I want to get 50 shirts or 100 shirts or whatever, then what I'll do is I'll give them the websites that are out there, like Jiffy Shirts or SS Activewear. I'll give them the websites and I say, hey, these are some websites that they sell the shirts wholesale and you can order them there, and usually Jiffy Shirts is very good with the return policy. So one of the things that I tell them is you can order a shirt, because they have a whole bunch of polo shirts. You can order the shirts that interest you. That way you get them in the mail. You can look at them, you touch them, you feel them. If you don't like them, you send them back. And then when you find the shirt that's right for you, you can do the bulk order. And when you get the bulk order of shirts from the company, just bring them over to my house and I'll do all the embroidery. And what I like about that is because I know that they got them from one of these sites that I referred them to, I already know the item number and everything. So if I take one of those shirts and I screw it up, right, I mess it up, and the Peggy Stitch eraser just ain't gonna help me, okay, because it's that shirt's gone, okay, then I can easily just go online and order a replacement of that shirt. I always tell the customer though, because when you have to place an order of a replacement of the shirt, if I tell the customer, okay, you gave me 10 shirts, all right, I can have them embroidered for you. Give me like I can have them today or maybe tomorrow or the next day, right? But if I mess up a shirt and I gotta order it, then what happens is I gotta wait for that other shirt to come in. So usually when that happens, which is really, did it ever happen? No, well, no, it never happened, but I already have my game plan. Okay. If that ever happens, okay, let me re-say that, say that. If it ever does happen, then what I'll do is I'll just contact the customer and say, hey, just want you to know I had a mismatch with one of your shirts. I already placed an order in. It's not it when as soon as I'll have the other shirts ready for you to pick up, but I gotta wait for the replacement to come in so I can embroider that shirt. That way the customer can come pick up those shirts or that I've already embroidered, or they can tell me, hey, I can pick them up when that shirt comes in and you're done. And they work it that way. Or I can tell them, okay, if you want, instead of, I know I charged you for 10 shirts. If you don't need all 10 shirts, are you okay with 9? And I'll just refund you the money for the 10th shirt. Do that too. And then the shirt that I ordered, it comes in, I can just send it back because I no longer need it. So, yeah. But clothing can be a pain because of all the sizes and everything. It really can be a pain and stuff. Hey Cruz, how you doing? Um, hey, I have saved some money from my markets last year to buy it. And I'm broke now. Oh, for her machine. Oh my goodness. Embroidery machines are expensive. That is, I don't care what brand you look for. It's like buying a car. So, I always tell people, do your research, do it well. Make sure that whatever machine you bring home, that it is something that you are completely comfortable with, that you can operate it, you can get the support that you need and all that kind of stuff. So, 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 so important. Um, Yeah, my sister wants that multi-needle. That's what she wants. Hey Aaron, how are you? Let's see. Hey Ozzy, how you doing? Hey Ollie. Let's see. I'm looking to see if anybody has questions and stuff. Oh, ink with leather. Hope everything is okay. Yep, that it comes back with good news. Absolutely. Hey, Sharon is caring. Oh, I love that. Thank you so much. Helpful information for new entrepreneurs. Oh, you are so welcome because that's the whole goal. That's the whole goal of this channel is that, I just want to teach people and share information. I do notice that sometimes a lot of people don't like to share information. I do. I don't mind. I don't have a problem with it. There is enough for everybody in this world. That's how I see it. That's just how I see it. There is enough for everybody. There's no reason to anybody get stingy. Okay, so don't tell me a secret because I'm gonna share it, especially in the world of embroidery. Okay, I'm gonna share the information. Okay. Oh, do you charge for stitches plus time plus thread or only stitches? I do a combination. Okay. This is a pretty good question that she's got, or he got. Sharon is caring. You could. It depends on how you want to do it. Okay. Some people do the stitches. They have an amount of stitches. Some people do the time. Some people do one or the other. Thread, I don't usually add the thread unless it's a thread that I have to order, a specialty thread or something like that. And the charge is not much. Okay. Time is definitely factored in. Okay, I do $50 per hour, and depending on the stitch time, okay, that's how I kind of determine how much I'm going to charge. Sometimes when I get a little number, depending on the complexity, it of the design and stuff like that kind of helps to determine. So it's kind of a tricky answer. I know it's probably, it's not like cut and dry. There's so many different ways that people price their embroidery. There really is. And to me there is no right or wrong. I say the same thing like when you're buying a machine. It's what makes you comfortable. I don't, are you going to feel like you got robbed? That's really it. Okay? You don't want that. You don't want that. So you want to make sure that you're charging the price that you think is fair. So I'm just saying incorporate all this stuff. Like some people, I have a price sheet that I have that, let me see. Hold on. Here it is cuz I got it right here. This is a price sheet that I have and it's laminated. Let me take this off. All right, here's a little price sheet that I use. Okay. And if you look at it real closely, you see that I have like stabilizer, 13 cents, 14 cents. I use this just to start as a little basis so that I could see the cost of all materials and all that kind of stuff, right? So like and this is how I do it. Like with cutaway, all right? The pre-cut is usually $12.99 for 100. Okay. Oh, thank you so much for super chat. I appreciate that. Like let's say you buy a pack of stabilizer, right? And you get 100 like this. All right. Oh boy. Okay. I got a pack of stabilizers like this, all right? Now, let's just say that I paid, all right, here I got the pricing. $12.99 for one of these packs. Okay. So what I usually do, and in the pack comes 100. All right. So that means for each one of these sheets, it costs 13 cents. Okay. So usually what I'll do is like, let's say I'm embroidering a shirt and I'm using 2 pieces of cutaway stabilizer, right? So that means it's 26 cents per shirt in stabilizer. So I put that in there. I put that in. Okay, so I know it's costing me 26 cents. The thread, okay, usually people have, I've seen people say $1 per thousand, $1.50 per thousand. I'll put that in there too. Okay, I'll throw that in there, right? And then some people charge for color changes. They'll come out and say, well, for every color change, I charge 50 cents. Okay. So let's say that you have something like this. All right. Where right here you have the red, the gray, the white, so let's say there's like I don't know. But the thing is, you got to remember too, it's not just the color change on this one, you're also changing the different thread weights. Okay, because like right here you see where it says estimated 2007, these little things, this is 60 weight. Okay, and then this thread right here is 40 weight, so that's another change. Okay, so sometimes people will charge per color change, and that's usually folks that have like the single needle, because you actually have to manually go in there and change that. Because I have a multi needle, I don't even bother with the color change cost, because the machine's just going to keep on stitching to the next color. Okay. So sometimes also people have a hooping fee. All right. I'll usually put in the hooping fee if there's something that's pretty tricky to hoop. If I have something that's real easy, it's just a snap, I don't even bother. I don't even bother with it, because it's like, I don't, you can nickel and dime, and next thing you know, you could be embroidering a shirt and you tell the customer, well, it's $90 a shirt. You can do that if you want, but I like to be reasonable, so it's like I said, I like to be fair to the customer, I like to be fair to me. So usually what I'll do is I'll add all those costs in there. Okay, digitizing, it depends on the cost of digitizing. Sometimes if I have something simple like this, okay, the cost could be about like $10 or $12 to digitize. If you have something that's very complex like this, you're probably looking at maybe $20, $25. So you have to think about all that, right? And you add that into your cost. Another thing when we're talking about the cost also, that because right now we're just talking embroidery, right? What about those of you guys that sell online? I'm gonna take out Sharon for Karen. What about those of you guys that sell online? Not only do you have to pay for all the embroidery and the materials and all that kind of stuff, but you got to pay for your shipping bags. You got to pay for your shipping labels. You got to pay for your shipping, the cost to actually ship. Okay. Any type of bags, any type of advertisements and all that kind of stuff, that will cost. Okay. So, you have to, that's why I say when people ask you for price, I'm serious, guys. Don't blurt out a number, right, Mello? Where are you? There you go. Don't blurt out a number, because when you sit down with your price sheet, right, and you start to calculate how much stabilizer you're using, how many stitches are involved, how much time it's going to take, color changes and all that kind of stuff. When you start adding all that up, if you came out and said, oh, yeah, I can charge right now, I can charge $10. And then all of a sudden you find out that, it's $10 to do it. And you didn't even charge time for you. Okay. You never want to give a price. You want to do your research. You want to write it all down. You want to add it all up, and then you want to look at the total price and make a decision. Should I charge a little more, or maybe I'll because they're buying so many? Because I've done that. If they're like, oh well, I'm getting like 12 or 15 shirts, and I'm like, well, it's a big order. All right, so I'll cut off maybe $10 from the total of the price, or so, give them a little discount or something like that. It's up to you. It's up to you. There's no right or wrong. But my whole thing is, please don't feel like you got robbed, because then you robbed yourself. Hey Angie, would like to get the digitizing place you use. I've tried 5 different places. Oh, oh, I hope I didn't lose you guys. You guys can still see me? Because it looked like it blacked out. Oh man, I hope you guys are still there. Go to Fossil. Angie, if you go over to can you guys still hear me? And if you go to Embroidery Happy Hour Adventures in Facebook, okay, you will find Fossil Mabu on there. Okay. He's the one that I highly recommend. He's very, very, very good. And what I like about him is his customer service. Okay, he's the type of digitizer that he works with you. I know what you're talking about when you say, if you've worked with some digitizers and you're not exactly kind of like happy. Been there. I've worked with some people that I haven't been too crazy about because I'm looking for your comment and stuff and I can't find you now. Oh my god, where are you? Okay. Where are you? Where's your comment thing? Anyway, been there, done it. I know exactly what you're talking about, and I don't like digitizers to disappear. That's why and I see sometimes in our Facebook group some digitizers come out, and I do try to remove some of their comments and stuff like that because I don't want some folks are brand new to digitizing and they're not very experienced, and I don't and sometimes what happens is you send them your money and they'll give you something, but it's crap because that's happened to me. Okay. And I'm like, what the heck? And then it's like, what you gonna do? Right. So then I'm like, okay, great. You got my $10. I like Fazzle. I think Fazzle is really, really, really good. But you can find him in our Facebook group. Let me see. Let's see. Oh, Barbara, thank you so much for the super chat. I learned. That's so cool. Look at that. Thanks for sharing. Oh, you are very, very welcome. You're very welcome. I'm really glad that I'm able to help you guys out. And I don't mind sharing at all. Yeah, but see, Angela, yeah, that's why I'm saying be very careful, Angie, with the folks. His name is Fazil. Fazil Mahu. Okay, what I will do is at the end, I will put Fazil's information right in the video description of here. Okay. He is really, really good, Angie. His prices are fair. My experience with him has always been really good. I just message him, very responsive. He does very good quality work. If you send him a file, and I've worked with him in several. This is all him. All these are him. Okay. There have been times when I needed to work with him on certain files, and sometimes something was a little off. What I really like is you can always reach out to him and he'll fix it. He'll fix it to make sure that you're okay. And what I even like is he'll let you know, use 60 weight, use 40 weight. And I tell him, hey, I'm putting this on a polo, what kind of material and all that kind of stuff. Digitizers should be asking these questions, because the thing is, some of them just put stuff there and they just give you a file and that's it. Let me see. Oh, yep. And Angela, I got to get better on Instagram myself. Customer asked for a yarn looking logo. Have you done that before? I tried the yarn and that was like a bust. I got a video on that. Okay. I used a thick yarn though. I think that's something called coaching. I have not done that. I kind of like doing more like this kind of stuff. Yeah, and if you can look, I mean, sharing. What I would probably do is see how you can do it, but because that is a unique type of technique, okay, make sure you pricing right. Okay, because that is it's they're talking about it's a different type of technique. So make sure you're pricing yourself correctly. Okay. Ozzy is home finishing an order of 8 shirts. You go, Ozzy. I'm so proud of you. Ozzy got his multi machine and he is putting those orders out there. Jeanette, are you regularly stitching out your needles? Switching out your absolutely. Okay, this is another one. And are you regularly stitching out your needles on your multi-needle machines when you stitch from one type of fabric to another, depending upon the project? Okay. Now, yes, depending on what I am stitching on, that will determine the needle that I use. Okay, it determines on what kind of weight and all that stuff. Now, this is the one thing that I am going to say, and I'm telling you, you guys have heard me say it before. Do not be cheap with your needles. And what I am talking about is switch out those needles. Use fresh needles, okay? You should only be using a needle for 8 hours of embroidery. After that, take that needle out, put in a fresh one. I've even seen people, and even myself, I've done this. When you are on a new project, all those needles get taken off the machine, and I put all brand new needles, okay? Why? Why should you do that? I'm going to tell you why. Needles get dull. They get dull. And when the needles get dull and they start to puncture your fabric, they're making a bigger hole. And that will affect the quality of your embroidery. Serious. Okay. So don't be cheap. Needles are not that expensive. Buy them by the 100 pack. Okay. Or what I usually do is I'll buy 500 needles, okay, and I put them in a drawer, and I just have to buy needles like every 6 months because I change them out a lot. I change them out a lot every week on both of these machines and the single needle, and or even my quilting. All the needles come out, and I put fresh needles in, okay, because it really affects your sewing. It affects the sewing, it affects the embroidery. So yes, do not be cheap on that. Don't be cheap on that, okay? Hey Shirley, how you doing? Let's see. Hey Barb. Should we keep 60 weight in stock? No, no, no. Okay, this is another one. All right. Okay, bass. Okay. Should we keep 60 weight in stock in all the colors, or should we get it when we need it? You get it when you need it. Okay. If there now, I'm going to tell you the basic colors I would recommend buying. And when I mean basic colors, I'm talking about like get like a get white, get black, get gray. Those are basic. You know, when you look at people's logos and you always see like the small letters and stuff like that, what are the common colors that you see, right? Like when I did this logo right here and you see this little raspberry thing, I just ordered that separate, okay? You don't have to go and say, "Oh my god, I have, I need I need 60 weight of all these no, you're going to be wasting your money. No, because you're not going to use every color in 60 weight, okay? A lot of times when you're working on logos for businesses and stuff, when you see the small letters, a lot of times it's the basic colors. So, what I would do, Bass, is just get them, like I said, in the simple colors. Get the white, get the black, get gray. Just start with that, those three. Okay. And then, as you start working on customers' orders and stuff, then you'll eventually get it. Because I mean, look at this. Like, look at this one. This was white. This was white. It's not purple. It's not green or anything like that. It's not those, those other colors. So no, buy it as you need it. Ooh, excuse me. Sorry. Just buy it as you need it. Don't go crazy buying a whole different set. Now, in the 40 weight, I would say buy the set, because 40 weight thread is usually the most common weight that's used for embroidery, for designs and stuff like that. So when so when you're looking to buy a set, I would say buy it in 40 weight, not the 60 weight. The 60 weight, you buy it as you need it. Okay. Hey, Fabulous, how you doing? You're right. The eye is smaller. Yes. I have orders for wedding handkerchiefs. Ooh, 60 weight. 60 weight. If the embroidery is small, 60 weight, and 65.9, Patricia. That's what I would do. Hey, Robin. This might have been asked already. That's okay. But what fabric stabilizer do you use for your samples? Okay. No, nobody asked that question. Robin, you're good. Okay. For these, usually what I do is I try to use the fabric close to the product that we're going to embroider on, right? Now, like, I'll just grab scraps like this. I knew this was going to be on shirts, and it was going to be on stretchy fabric, right? Because it was going to be on a polo shirt. Oh, hi, Mello. So what I usually did was, for this is like a stretchy fabric. This is stretchy, okay? So what I wanted to do was I wanted to use fabric that is kind of similar to a polo shirt, right, Mello? That's what we wanted to do. Oh, he wants to be in the picture. Okay, here you go. All right. Okay. Ain't that what we wanted to do? We wanted to do shirt. So what I usually do, who was it? Okay, Robin, what you usually do is try to use fabric close to what you're going to be embroidering on. That way, when you're doing your test stitch, you kind of have a feel, right, Boo Boo? You kind of have a feel of what kind of, how it's going to look. All right. What do you think about that? Oh my goodness. Okay, Boo Boo. All right. So I hope that helped and stuff. Hey, Diana, how you doing? I see Faith. Oh, can't seem to finish my question. I have okay, another question. Here we go. All right, Patricia, can't seem to finish my question. Okay, I have 60 weight thread. All right, and I have 65 needles ordered. What stabilizer should I use? Okay, now the stabilizer that you're going to be using depends on the product that you're going to be embroidering on. Okay, like for instance, if you are embroidering on fabric that is not stretchy, okay, or fabric that is not going to be washed very often, then I say tearaway would be good. If you are embroidering on clothes, all right? And also, let's talk about the clothes for a little bit. Like, let's say you're doing it on a jean jacket, right? If you're doing it on a jean jacket, I say tearaway, because jean jackets are not very stretchy, okay? But if you are embroidering on like a polo shirt, use cutaway. Also, depending on the design, all right, like with this, I use 2 sheets of cutaway. All right, if I have something that's like this, or I have something that's like this, I use 1 sheet of cutaway. Okay, so the type of stabilizer that you're going to use, Patricia, is going to depend on your fabric. Let me give you a little hint too, because you may not know this. Okay, and you guys that have been watching me for quite some time know I always reference this, all right? I want you, Patricia, Google this top line, okay? Google this, Fabrics 101 Stabilizer and Design Guide. Guys, seriously, Google this. Now, why am I telling you to Google this? This is a PDF file that you're going to find on the internet. And what's it going to do is it's going to tell you the fabric. It's going to tell you what stabilizer should go with that fabric. Look at that. The kind of design, all right? Is it dense? Is it not dense? Okay. And it's also going to let you know about the needle that you could be using. Okay. All right. So very good information. Okay. This is something that I highly recommend. Print it out, staple it, keep it real close like I do, right by your machine. Okay. And then when you are embroidering something and you see the fabric and all that kind of stuff, use that as a reference guide. Now, that's a, like I said, it's a reference guide. As you become more experienced, you're going to be more familiar to what stabilizers to use with what particular fabric. That's all going to come in time. Okay. But Patricia, I hope that helped out your question and stuff. Hey Xenia. Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. I believe all my embroidery thread is 60 weight. I never paid much attention to the thread weight. Had no clue. Hey Faith, how you doing? Let's see. Faith said just got the SC1900 for the holidays. Congratulations. You're going to love that machine. That's my favorite machine. Found your site. Oh, fabulous. Oh, thank you. Just a road trip away from Connecticut. Oh, have fun with your machine, Faith. I'm telling you, you're going to love that machine. I'm telling you. I got mine right back there. I love it. I truly love it. It's a great sewing machine. It's a great embroidery machine. Oh, there you go. Okay. All right, Felicia. Okay. I know you said you have a minimum $15 for any. No. Okay. No. Okay, Felicia, you think you misunderstood. All right. I said I have a minimum charge of $15, period. But that doesn't mean that I charge $15 for any design at all. Because I'm going to tell you something. I'm not stitching this out for no $15. Oh, no. No. My charge for this is $30. Okay? It's $30 for this. All right? Now it is difficult. Yeah, it is, and Felicia, I'm gonna tell you something, it's tricky. It really is tricky. Okay. The reason why I charge 30 for this, and I could charge more, all right, is because of the quantity of shirts that I do for this club. Okay. I do a lot of shirts for them. And it's not just the shirts, I do other items as well. So because they are a repeat customer, then that's why they get that price. All right. However, let's say I'm going to be stitching something like this. Okay. This is not a lot of stitches. It's really not. Okay. This takes about 4 minutes to stitch real fast. This is $15. I charge $15 for this. So I hope that kind of, sums it up for you and stuff, This is another one. Very small, not a lot of stitches. 15. More stitches, a little more complicated. This was about 20. Okay. So, it depends. Okay. And you're right. The pricing can be pretty difficult, which is why I tell you guys up front, don't give the price right away. Think about it. Just tell them kindly. Just say, okay, let me get all the information, and then, okay, I got to put all this together and I'll get back to you tomorrow. That's what you do. And then get all the information and stuff. And this is the other thing too that you can do. All right. If after you calculate everything and you got a price and you're really not sure, you're in a you right now, Felicia, you're in a embroidery network community, okay? I do it. All right. There have been times when I'm doing something and I'm like, shoot, I'm not too sure. Is this the good price that I should be doing it? I'll reach out to my girlfriend Liliana and I'll be like, hey, because she's been doing embroidery for over 25 years. I'll be like, Liliana, look at this, and then I'll tell Liliana this, it has this thread, it takes this long, this how many stitches, and I was thinking of charging this much. What do you think? Get somebody else's opinion, but get someone's opinion that's in embroidery, that's doing what you're doing, okay? Don't go to your girlfriend that doesn't even know how to turn on a sewing machine, because she's not going to be able to tell you. She's going to be like, look all right. She's talk to other experienced embroiderers and ask them their opinion, okay? But you also got to understand too, pricing is it's kind of personal too. You know what I mean? It's like everybody has different goals as to why they price a certain way. You just have to decide what is right for you and what you feel comfortable with. That, you don't, at the end of the day, like I said, you don't want to feel like you got robbed. Okay. You don't want to feel like you're walking around with a pocketbook with the hole at the bottom and all the money fell out. That's what I'm saying. Okay. You got, you got suckered. You don't want to feel that way. All right. So what you want to do is look at the whole thing. Okay. And do the price that's right for you. The reason that I say the minimum is $15 for me is because sometimes I'll get an order in where somebody comes in and says, I just want a letter. I want a letter on a bag, or a letter is only like, I don't know. Okay, let's say it's 5,000 stitches for a letter. Okay, and let's say I go by $1 every 1,000, $5, but you don't take into account that I had to go in Brilliance and I had to pick the font and I had to do the right size, and then I got to hoop the hat and all that kind of stuff and everything. That all counts. Okay. My time counts too. So that's why when it comes to very small stitch, very simple designs like this, where I know that the stitch count is under 15,000 stitches, the minimum that I will charge is the $15. Okay. I hope that makes sense. Oh, and okay, sorry for clarification. Okay, no. All right. 40 weight thread. You use 40 weight thread. Okay. 40 weight thread is with the 7511 needle. That's usually the normal weight for embroidery. The 60 weight, okay, and it can get confusing because the 60 is a larger number, right? So you would think it's a bigger number, so it's thicker. It's not. It's actually opposite. The 60 weight is the thinner thread, and that's where you use the 65.9. You hear him crying? Stop it, Mello. Oh, he locked himself. Hold on, let me open the door because I think he wants to get out. Is that why you're crying? There you go. Okay. Mello was playing with the door and he closed the door. Okay, now you want to hang out here? Oh boy. Okay. So 60 weight is the thin thread, and you want to use it with a 65 needle. The 40 weight is the normal weight for embroidery, and you use that with a 75 size needle. Okay, so hopefully that helps a little bit. Okay. Hey Ozzy, question about the thread and the bobbin thread. If you use 60 weight, do you use 60 weight? Yes, I do. I don't change. Yes. Okay, this is another question. I do not, Ozzy, I don't change the weight of my bobbin. I just leave the bobbin the same. And I still get good quality stitches. Okay, now they do have different weights, but I've always used the 60 weight as my bobbin thread. And even though the top thread can be 60 weight, that works just as fine. but remember this, I just use the 60 weight thread just for small fonts. Okay, something that's very, very detailed. That's what I use the 60 weight thread for. Yeah. So okay. Oh, wrong mouse. Okay. Let's see. What's going on? Oh, Angela, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that. Hey Ruth, how you doing? Let me see. What does it mean when my files aren't showing up? Okay, Aaron, you got a 1900. Okay. All right, and your files are not showing up. All right. Aaron, if when you buy an embroidery file, you have to make sure that it's the right size. Okay. If the embroidery file is not in the right size of the hoop, it's going to be grayed out. It's not going to show in the machine. Okay. So that is probably what it is. So what I would do is make sure that your file is 5x7. It's for a 5x7 hoop. This is another thing too that a lot of people get confused about. Sometimes you can have a file, like if you're going into an embroidery software and you have your 5x7 hoop, you cannot design that file to be bumped up to the edge of the hoop. You got to look at your embroidery needle and the, I don't know what you call that too, the foot, the embroidery foot. That foot has to come up and down. It's not going to be able to embroider right on the edge of the hoop because then it's going to hit the hoop. So there's going to be some space in there. Okay. So if you have a file and you increase the size of that file and it's like bumped up at the edge of that hoop, it's not going to show because it's not going to be able to do that, to stitch out. So I hope that helps, Aaron. Hey Jackie, how you doing? Let's see. Any recommendations? Okay. All right, Morris. Morris is saying she's got a SC1900 recommendations when the thread shows on the top. When the thread is showing on the top, that means you are having problems with the tension of your machine. Okay. So I do have a video on the channel on tension. Okay, so I recommend look at that video. I show you step by step how to do it, what your tension is supposed to look like. Your bobbin should not be going to the top. Okay, so you got to set the machine on 4, and most likely what's going to happen is you're going to have to adjust the tension on your bobbin case, and I show you exactly how to do that in the video. That is going to help you out. Okay. Let's see. Oh, good. I thought I lost you guys. And I see a lot of people. Hey, Veronica. Maybe have Fossil. You know what? I may ask him. I'll probably ask him. Yes, Ozzy got his name down. Fossil Mahu. He is very, very good. Maybe I'll reach out to Fossil and ask him if he wants to do an embroidery happy hour and stuff. He is in Pakistan, yes. And yeah, there is a 12-hour difference. That's the thing too. Yeah, because let me see. It's night for me. Oh, it might be too early for him. So he might be having his cup of coffee and stuff. Yeah, maybe I'll reach out and see. Hey, Esther. Change them out regularly. Yeah, see? I'm telling you guys, like Esther said, I am telling you guys, don't be cheap with the needles and that's another thing. Sometimes people say, oh, I was embroidering and it came out beautifully. And then after like the 6th or 7th time that they're embroidering the same thing, then they're like, it looks like crap because you didn't change your needle. Now the hole is bigger because now the needle is dull. So change those needles, okay? Let me see. Let's see. Anything else out here? Okay, awesome. Cool. I got all your comments. All right. As always, guys. Oh my God. Oh, it's 10:15. I'm so sorry. Well, welcome to Embroidery Happy Hours. But as always, the first hour, as always, I always like to share the information with you guys. And then it's important for me. Because I do this because I want to help. Okay. So to me, it's important to go down through all the comments. What is the name of that PDF? Okay. I always like to go down the comments and stuff like that because I want to help people. That's the whole reason why I'm doing this channel, because I like to help. And Barbara, here it is, hon. It's Fabrics 101 Stabilizer and Design Guide. Google this line. Seriously, guys, Google this. I'm telling you, this is so, so, so handy. It really is. It's so handy. I mean, and it has the 4 columns and stuff. You have no idea. I mean, I have a staple. I have it right there on my machines. And every time I have some kind of type of fabric, I'm not too sure about the stabilizer or the needle or stuff like that, I go right here. It's a great starting point. It really, really, truly is. Okay. I mean, it's something that is really good. Just Google it. Google it. You'll see the PDF. Print it out, staple it, put it right by your machine. It's good. It's a really useful thing. Hey Veronica, you spoiled us when I watch your YouTube's accept answer. Taking notes tonight. Hey Wendy. Oh, I'm glad. I'm really glad that you guys really do find all of this stuff helpful. I really am. And I love doing it and stuff. And like I said, thank you so much to Linda for that comment that she put on the video, because when she put that in there about what kind of questions do you ask customers, I was like, you know what? I bet you that is something that's going to be so useful for a lot of people. So let me answer that comment on Embroidery Happy Hour. And I even replied to her and I said, you know what? I'm going to do that this Friday on Embroidery Happy Hour. So Linda, thank you so much for putting that comment out there. So guys, if you have anything that you guys have questions on, you want me to cover a topic, do research or whatever, let me know. I'd be more than happy to do that, because we can all learn together, and stuff. And, and then you guys watch some of my videos, you guys even see, I leave the mistakes in there. I leave the mistakes in there because nobody's perfect. And at the same time, whatever mistakes I make, you guys can see and go, wow, she screwed that one up. And then not to do what I did, so it kind of helps, and what the heck, we all laugh, so it's life, right? Where do you buy your needles? I usually get my needles from allstitch.com. Sharing, that's where I like to get my needles, and I buy the 100 pack. And I use organ needles. I like the organ needles. The Swartz, I don't even know if I say that right, if it's Swartz or Schnorks, my English or whatever. I mean, just make sure it's embroidery needles. But I like getting them from All Stitch because I buy the 100 pack. Okay. But usually when I buy them, I usually buy like 400 or 500 needles at a time. And then I just stick them into my drawer. And that way you never run out of needles. You never run out of needles. Okay. I'm really good at keeping track of my inventory, like needles and stabilizers and everything, because the last thing you want is to have to work on a project and then you don't have the right stabilizer or needle or something like that in stock. And the next thing you know, you're kind of like pissed, because then you're like, okay, now I got to wait to order it or go search for it or something like that. So anyway, yeah. But anyway, okay, guys. Well, I am going to call it the night. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. And I really appreciate all the support and all the super chats tonight. I mean, I really appreciate that. It helps my son a lot because, as you guys know, all this YouTube money is paying for his dorm. And so he's got one more year of college to go. So I really appreciate everything, and I'm really glad that I'm helping so many people out there, because that's the whole goal of why I'm doing what I'm doing. I think this is a lot of fun. As I'm teaching you guys, I'm also learning as well. So I really appreciate everything and all the support. I love you guys all. So anyway, guys, I am going to sign off for now. Have a great weekend. Please be safe out there. And I will talk to you guys next Friday at 8 o'clock again. So I will talk to you guys later, right? You have a great one. Bye.